Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Carmen Bearfield. I am a published poet, an aspiring novelist, and I am currently working on the first draft of my contemporary romance novel, which is codenamed Project Belle. And today we are going to be working on transferring, well, I'll be working on it, everything that I've written for Project Belle from my notebook into Scrivener. This is going to be, it's going to be really good, but it is very daunting. And part of the reason why I need to do this is because my goal is to complete the first draft of Project Belle by the end of November. In order to do that, I need to have a better idea of what my word count is. I probably should have done this, a few weeks back, but I was just still like opening up Scrivener and then pulling up a scene and I'm like, oh, I want to work on that today, and just putting in some words, or I would end up writing in my notebook. I'm probably still going to be writing in my notebook, but I'll be a little bit better about transferring it the very next day or, that same week, rather than waiting as long as I have, because this makes it a bit more of a bigger project. I'm getting words in, I'm working on stuff, but I need to have a better structure, especially so I can plan my writing every single day, right? And be a little bit more diligent and disciplined with it. So what that could look like is maybe I do 500 words in the morning, another 500 words at lunch, and then try and pop in another 1,000, after work. That could be an option. But I also want to give myself grace, because every day is going to be different. Some days I'm not going to want to hit my word count. I will, because this is a challenge and this is good for me, and I will be very proud of myself once the first draft is done. But if I go and hit like 3,000 words in one day, which is wow. But if I do it, then that gives me a little bit of wiggle room for what my weekly word count will need to be. So right now in Scrivener, I have 14,000, let me look, 86 words for Project Belle. My notebook, I have no idea. Okay, because my handwriting is all over the place. It is college lined. I'm going front to back. I also have a lot of things scribbled in the margins, because I would be writing something and then think, ooh, I want to add this detail, and then I'd run back up and scribble it in. And so that's one of the things that, at least for me as a writer, and I've talked about this before, I believe, but for me, one of the benefits of writing my novel or writing scenes either on the computer or in my notebook, and sometimes, and hopefully I don't knock things down, was also writing in my AlphaSmart. We will not be touching this guy today, and I will definitely come back to what this is and why I also love it. Maybe I'll bring it to a cafe and be obnoxious with my clicky clacking, because this is not a creamy keyboard. That is a curse word. But it's not like the nicest keyboard to listen to, but it gets the job done and it keeps you from editing. And so that is one of the reasons why I really, 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 really like handwriting, because it's been very, very helpful with making sure I'm making progress on the book without holding myself back. The other thing that I've really enjoyed with it is that when I have gone through the notebook and transferred some stuff, I am bulking up the scene or bulking up what's already there. And so kind of to expand on what I mean by that is, when I am going through my notebook with the intention of transferring and I'm writing something out, what could have been just 300 words if I just typed it without thinking about it could expand to 750. Does that mean that I'm going to keep it next draft? Maybe, maybe not. But by taking the time to go through it, maybe I start writing and I just go into a different section or it begins to flow. And what's cool about that is I'm not editing necessarily, but I'm getting to sit with the words for a bit longer and go, oh, you know, when I was kind of describing the male main character's house, which again, we could totally cut that or end up having to cut it if it holds no story like value long run. But as I'm transferring it, I'm like, you know what? I have no details right here for that. And in my mind, I'm envisioning like, you know, he's currently staying at his dad's house. It hasn't been remodeled since the late 90s. It's like a kind of like a time capsule for him. And so I write down in my notebook, time capsule, blah, blah, blah. But I don't expand, I don't go into that. I'm not putting into words what I'm envisioning. And so when I'm transferring it, I get a chance to just go with the flow and be like, oh yeah. The old like rooster use decor that his mom had gotten, like the rooster is just in the kitchen with its head off because it fell and for some reason his dad didn't throw it away. Is that a useful detail? No. Will it stay? Maybe not. But I get to add different things and like think about it. And that's really fun because as I'm going, I can begin to tie things together or say, you know what? Some of these details aren't necessary, so I'll cut it. But I don't want to think about it yet. So originally when I was beginning to write my book in my notebook, I was pretty sure I wasn't gonna feel like typing everything out. And so I was trying to be as neat as possible because I figured what I could do is use my phone and just scan it. And then like in Evernote or some other service and just have it digitize the words. I could do that, but one, I wouldn't get the benefits that I was just talking about of being able to continue to think about the scene and add additional words or expand on different ideas. And the second thing is, again, because I was thinking about digitizing originally, it's kind of silly, but in my notebook, I actually have I actually physically wrote out in capital letters like TK. And if you know about that trick, that is awesome. And just to explain that a little bit more in case you don't know that trick, for editors and writers, just in our circles, what is really beneficial about using TK in caps is that is not a common combination of letters, right? You're not going to accidentally go into a document and type, you know, if you go to search or find and you put in TK, you're not gonna accidentally end up deleting a whole bunch of words or changing things out awkwardly. And it's just very visually, like, to me, it's sharp, right? Just thinking about the T, the K, in caps. It stands out. It's not easy to mix up with other words, and it makes it a lot easier to find things in your document. And again, kind of silly to be writing it out like that in my notebook, but again, I thought maybe I might be digitizing. And so I didn't want to lose anything when I know that I haven't done the research on a particular topic and I don't want to interrupt my flow. That is the best time to use TK, or at other points I was like underline, because by that point I was like, I'm not even digitizing, but I was like underlining and putting things in parentheses. It just makes it like to be able to, because if I digitized it now, what would that even look like? It would just be like scribbles. It would be like, girl, what is this? Because again, like I said, I was going into the margins too. And I mean, not to say that technology wouldn't be able to figure it out, but would I be able to figure out what it figured out? Like, maybe not. It might not be good. So either way, this is the plan. This is what I'm gonna do. So again, my current word count in Scrivener is 14,386. Let me double check that. Yes, okay. Wait, 14,386. I'm not good with numbers. I'm a writer. I like this for a reason. Okay, so yeah, I think that's the game plan for today. I want to transfer everything in my notebook into Scrivener. Is it the most realistic? Maybe not. Is it the most doable? Yes. Am I that determined? No. But we'll see. We'll see how much progress I can get. But yeah, so let's get started.
2 hours later.
All right. It's been about 2 hours and I have only really transferred, I've transferred 2 pages front to back, which I know doesn't seem like a lot, but my word count now is 17,231 words. Okay, so just to explain what I was doing in those 2 hours, as I was transferring, and I used my handy dandy highlighter. Once I finished with a section, I just made sure to mark it. And I highly doubt these 2 pages are 3,000 words. Definitely not. Did a lot of bulking as I was going. Technically not a lot of progress with transferring, but still progress on the manuscript as a whole. Also, as I was going, damn, you're itchy. Okay. Anyways, so as I was working on this and transferring it, I would say, let me check really quick. What do you want? Yes. Okay. Want to get down? As I was writing, I started getting like a little bit, like little pieces of dialogue for another scene that happens in Act 2. That I have like my scene card, so I know what's going to happen, but I don't know what's going to happen necessarily. I kind of took a break from the transferring and I wrote about 750 words of that scene, full of TKs and sections that I need to still flesh out, but at least it's in there. I think this is a good start. I don't know how long this is going to take realistically, while recognizing what I need to do for the story. And I'm probably going to take a lot of breaks, because one of the things I'm noticing too, and I don't know if this happens with anybody else, feel free to leave a comment down below if it does, but as thrilling and as exciting as writing can be, especially if, you know, your characters are surprising you or leading you in different directions. But have you ever noticed that you just get really tired from writing? And it's very different from like a physical exhaustion. It's like you're putting so much into creating and putting things onto the page that, like for me, yesterday, I was like, okay, I need to take a break. 2, I also want to paint my nails. 3, I kind of want to veg out and just watch episodes of Supernatural rather than going back and working on my book. Anyways, I don't know if you guys could hear that, but in Salem, and I guess like throughout the North Shore, there's a man, some say he's a man, others say that he's a cryptid that we are unable to fully grasp the concept of, but he is in a big green Jeep and he's usually playing like reggaeton or Latin music, and he'll just be driving around and the bass is heavy and I can feel it no matter where. I know when he's coming. It could be like I'm walking and it's like 2 streets away and I can feel it. Okay, we don't have Godzilla in Salem. We have this gentleman who drives around. So, but anyways, that's some like random Salem lore for you. I guess that has nothing to do with everything else. Back to what I was talking about. There are times where that resistance to getting the work done is possibly the mind trying to protect you from the what ifs, the whys, the unknowns, because that can be really all-consuming. It can get really scary. And I think for me in the past, it was like, why am I going to put in so much work and I'm going to put in all this time and all this effort and I'm going to be so tired, and yes, it'll be fun, but is it going to be worth it? But very exciting news, because I don't know if I mentioned it from last video, but I am 600 words away from hitting 20,000 and I'm very, very happy. I think the closest to, I've written a lot and I've started a lot of novels and not finished them, or got like halfway and I was like, what? but I don't know, this feels different. This feels so much better. And is it weird to say that I'm having a healthier relationship with writing? Because I think that's what this is. I think I have a healthier relationship with my work and who I am as an artist and a writer. Like, I think it's a lot, I'm able to approach it in a much healthier way than I have in the past. So yes, I'm very excited. 20,000 words, I'm right there. And I'm gonna like do a little celebration thing once I get to 90,000 words, because I am gonna do it. But you know, it's just so different and it feels so good. So either way, I will check back in a little while. Also, really random, another side tangent I have right now. Have you ever just like clicked on a song and just left it on repeat, and it doesn't necessarily always reflect your characters, but you get so in the groove of just listening to that song on repeat because SZA's Low has been on repeat for the last how long? I don't know what's going on with that. It's a good song. It's a good song. Is it a full reflection of the characters? Not all of them, but maybe a few. So, yeah. All right. Anyways, I'm gonna check back in. The Pomodoro method, so like 20 minutes working, 5-minute break, another 20 minutes working, 5-minute break. So about 40 minutes or so. Because sometimes I know you're supposed to, but I kind of work through my breaks. And then I guess I'm not doing the Pomodoro because then I take a longer break than 5 minutes. So I got dinner started, I got some rice in the rice cooker. But either way, back to it. So I'm gonna keep trudging away. Also, the viewport has kind of changed because I have lifted up my desk into standing mode just to continue writing because I'm tired. At one point, I kind of dozed off for a second and then I accidentally hit like the equal sign. And so I woke up and I had like a paragraph of equal signs. That's not counting towards the word count. I cleared that. But either way, that is bad. I don't want to be dozing off, so I'm going to be standing. We'll see how much I can get done for today, and then yeah, we'll go from there. So it is day 3 of just getting everything from my notebook into Scrivener. I think realistically, I won't be able to get everything from my notebook into Scrivener within just a few days because, as I mentioned before, I am bulking up what I'm adding. So I'm taking like 500 words and turning it into 1,000. I will worry about it later because I could be overwriting. That is a possibility, but that's something for future me to be pissed about. But I will say, and I'm very happy to announce it, I'm a little bit over a quarter done with the book, and I think that is, you know, it deserves like celebration. This process has really shown me that I am definitely a bop around and find out kind of writer. Just in terms of the manuscript, I'm not writing in a linear fashion. But that's definitely something I want to talk about in a future video, talking about Story Genius, which is a really, really good book, kind of talking about story in more broader terms and giving really great examples. But spoiler, there is a part of it that says that you need to write in order. And that like for me personally, that shut me down just because I was like, I don't think I can do it. And then I was trying to do it and it was okay. But I think for me, especially with this first draft, just getting the words out, no, I'm not gonna write in order. I'm just not doing it. And that's okay. Because for our writing, we create structure, we are trying to find things that work. And what happens is, especially for neurodivergent brains like mine, if we're thinking about writing in such rigid rules and regulations and structure without giving ourselves grace and wiggle room, it can really hinder that creative process. So, in conclusion, with this video, I have, let me open up the Scrivener. Hold on. I have 25,743 words. I'm very, very happy. So I have to do the math really quick. At the start of this video, I had 14,386 words. So I have, in my Scrivener project so far for this manuscript, I have 11,357 words. I am beyond proud of myself, and I'm very, very excited for the next milestone. Pretty much anytime I get 10,000 words down, I'm pretty much going to be patting myself on the back. And I'm just so happy. Anyways, thank you for watching this little 3-day epic. I know I'm gonna do my best to cut it down, but it's probably gonna be a longer video. So if you stuck around this long, again, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here with me for this. Feel free to check out the other videos that I have on my channel if you haven't seen them yet. But yeah, I'll be back soon. Yay! Thank you again. Bye.